Greetings once again, Tai Kwon Do family. Welcome to Miami Minutes, the show that plays to win. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And here with you through thick and thin, It's me, Niall McGowan. I actually had a weird question of, like, that term, I never thought about it until you have to analyze something minute by minute. But, like, the term thick or thin, we'll be together through thick or thin. I was like, well, so is the thick part the bad part or the thin part the bad part?
That's an interesting question. I mean, off the top of my head, you might have looked it up. I'm going to assume the thin part is the bad part because it's like when there's not a lot, when you don't have a lot.
It's basically like rewording in sickness or in health, isn't it, really? It's like, oh, you're thick. You're thick. You're double C. Everything's, all booties are shaking. Everything's going great. But I guess maybe it's like, oh, things are sumptuous. You've got a lot.
Yeah.
And then, thin is like, yeah, ain't got much. So that's I pondered it, and now I've just answered my own question nearly instantaneously.
That's what I think. I mean, maybe we're wrong. That's what comes to mind.
Also, it comes from an era, though, where that kind of thing was like, oh, no, it was the reverse back then. It was like, oh, things were thin. It's like, oh, it was great. Everything was lean, efficient, but thick. Oh, that was when things were terrible.
Lean and efficient. This is sounding a bit fascist. I don't like this. Yeah.
Say what you want about Miami Connection, but I made the buses run on time.
This is a fascist classic, Miami Connection. No, it's not. It's not. It's the opposite of that. It's about love and peace and ninjas. I don't recall fascists. Well, I was going to say having ninjas, but I suppose Japan. Oh dear. Oh no, I'm going down a dark route. We're not talking about this anymore.
The change of subject, and while we're on the title of the show, or of the movie as well, it only occurred to me because we spent so much time talking like, oh, it's, Miami Connection. It's not even set in Miami. It's like one scene in Miami. What the hell is this? And I was pondering, like, I keep saying pondering this episode too. Like, are you pondering what I'm pondering? But I was thinking about in our sister podcast, the Batman. I was thinking about the movie The Batman, and there's a scene in that where Batman escapes from the police station, the library building, of course, in Liverpool, and he does so by, like, he's talking to Jim Gordon, and he's like, okay, it's to get you out of this, so they don't think I'm with you. I'm gonna punch you and then run. So they'll be like, oh, he attacked Gordon and stuff. And that I interpreted it as being a little reference to the movie The French Connection, which, of course, is about drug smuggling and whatnot in 70s New York. And it only occurred to me, like, oh, because there's only, like, one scene of The French Connection set in France. And no one ever gives The French Connection crap for being like, oh, it's not even fucking French. I was like, was Miami Connection, because it's also about drugs and drug smuggling? Is it a reference to The French Connection?
Oh, my God. I think it might be. I think you're onto something. It's like Tommy Wiseau's You're Tearing Me Apart. But it's Kim's version of that.
Yeah. And of course, everyone knows Tommy Wiseau was referencing Hellraiser with You're Tearing Me Apart.
You're tearing my soul apart.
Yeah, so we might have finally maybe The French Connection, Miami Connection. It might be the whole time we've been giving a crap. It's like it's a reference to a new Hollywood classic, you fools.
I genuinely think you're right. I'd not considered this, but it's too similar in its execution. I think you're correct. And if not, I mean, who cares? That's what we're going to believe from now on. It's the headcanon, people. That's all that matters.
And I believe, too, it's been a long, long time since I saw it. But I think The French Connection 2, which people forget there was a second one.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. It actually wasn't bad, from what I recall. But I believe Gene Hackman goes to France in that. And it's like most of the movie is set in France. So if there was a Miami Connection 2, maybe the whole movie would have been set in Miami.
Not
and
exactly
get
that
off our backs.
Not that different a locale to where it is set, though, to be fair.
I really wish they'd go there, and it's like it's the full-on Shelbyville. Like, everything's different, but exactly the same.
Yeah. And there's another kung fu band. Taekwondo band.
Yeah, and they're called, like, I don't know, T-Rex Breath or something, or...
Actually, Rex Breath would work. I like that. That's
Rex Breath, yeah. Well, there you go. Well, maybe we can copyright that for ourselves.
There you go. That's the name of our band. That's the name of the band who do our intro theme song. No, it's not. It's not at all. I'm making that up. But speaking of beginnings, we will begin this minute 10 The minute starts with the crowd losing their minds, and it ends with Jeff about to lose his.
Yeah. He delivered that in a very Alan Partridge.
That was the idea. We are back as the greatest song in history of mankind is performed for the very first time. And life has not been the same since this song was performed, has it? My life hasn't.
Well, that's what you say that was performed for the very first time. And, the compare guy in the previous minute was like, oh, introducing a new dimension in sound or in rock and roll or whatever it was. But I noticed that the crowd are all clapping in sync. As if like they know this song. Like this is like they're the Dragon Sound's a new house band, but they may be like, oh, people know Dragon Sound though. They've been around like the Orlando area for donkeys.
Yeah, maybe this is just their first gig here. But it turns out the fans have followed them, like the Grateful Dead.
Well, would you like a dragonette or?
Oh, the Dragonettes! Oh, that's like our band. I'm the Dinnerette.
Oh. I was wondering what Deadheads wasn't it called?
Deadheads,
Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, like Soundies.
Soundheads. Listeners, write in with what you think they should be called. We need something along the lines of Deadheads, that kind of thing. Because that's our new headcanon as well. These people, they're following the band to the ends of the earth. It'd
be great to see outside. They've got like a dirty old van that they've painted a dragon on the side of, and they just follow them around.
Oh, that'd be amazing. And it has to be in that style that every 15-year-old goth witch everybody knew at school would have. They'd have books with that kind of thing on, and they had ornaments in that style of art. What were those dragons called? You could collect them.
Pokemon?
No, they're proper porcelain dragons. You get at like the witch shop.
Oh, I don't know.
This is my problem. I always go out with witches. It seems to happen regularly in my life.
But I'm fully expecting, because the crowd's so enthusiastic too when they come on. They're like, oh shit, it's a Dragon Sound! Like, this isn't like kind of like these guys start up and people are kind of get a gradual like, what is this? They're like, these people are ravenous for Dragon Sound already. So I think they're known. They are known to people.
Well, I mean, they won't be unknown for any longer if this is a new crowd, because holy crap, the immortal masterpiece, Friends. It is literally, genuinely an incredible work of art.
That's it. Again, much like Escape from Miami, it's like, yeah, it's a banger. Like, I think they have no notes on Friends. It's just the fact that like it's so memorable. You can hear that opening verse once, and you'll know it the rest of your life. Like, I didn't even need to be like at any point ever need to re-listen to it because it's like, oh yeah, friend through eternity, loyalty, honesty, mystique. It's like it just gets in there.
It helps that it's our theme song as well. Not that you'll know yet, because we're recording. We haven't released.
But the thing, though, is like the I should never have doubted Dragon Sound, because even the one lyric I mixed up in my head was like, I thought it was "We're on top because we fight to win," but it's "We play to win." And it's like, of course, Dragon Sound would be wholesome, and like we don't want to promote violence by putting even though we're fighting on stage or doing like Taekwondo and stuff. But it's like no, much more wholesome lyric of "We play to win."
It's an interesting line, that. Actually, yeah, let me read some of the lyrics and I'll get to that bit. It says, friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty. We'll stay together through thick or thin. Friends forever, we'll be together. We're on top because we play to win. And I'm just like sitting analysing these lyrics and I'm thinking, what? Wait, hang on. We're on top because we play to win. Is that how that works? You're on top because you play to win.
Yeah. I mean, you come in, like, I'm not messing around, I'm going to win, and then I get to the top.
I guess, but that in itself then sounds a bit aggressive. It's like you don't have to play to win. You're just friends having a nice time, man.
Well, again, this is, once again, the duality of man strikes again.
Yeah.
Because even the opening notes of the song are like the sound of like a kind of, it's a very hokey sound effect, but it's a gunshot.
Yeah.
It's got like a, like it's a real like, oh, I thought this was all about friendship and wholesomeness, but like there's still the undercurrent of violence going on.
Well, Dragon Sound did invent gangster rap. I mean, NWA said themselves, like our inspiration is Dragon Sound.
It's like those guys were really vocalizing something that needed to be said about life in the hood, and we finally, our ears were pricked. They pricked up.
Well, these are just some street kids, They're orphans. They've got nothing. They're hustling for $1. They're trying to get by.
But nothing that could begin. So you start off with a gun sound effect. There's a thing about like, oh yeah, we're all friendly, we're all friends here, but we play to win. And we're gonna get on top of. Make sure you're on the bottom because we're on the goddamn top. We don't mess around.
I suppose as well, you could argue that it's still kind of friendly because we play to win. It's still got a playful aspect to it rather than we're gonna spin kick your face off.
Yeah, I mean, it's 99.999% chance that the game they're talking about is like Ludo, or like Snakes and Ladders, or like Operation or something. It's like, oh yeah, we're not talking about any kind of gang warfare or anything like that.
What about Uno?
Oh, of course, yeah, Uno.
Uno is good, genuinely. I used to play that on the Xbox 360 because it was one of the first games to use the camera, so you could see your opponents. But of course, they didn't think about this. I'd say 50% of people who would pop up on the camera were just naked men sat on the couch.
Yep.
You saw far too many dicks.
I mean, that was the inherent flaw in chat roulette when that started.
Yep.
Which is why it was only a thing for like a month. And then everyone was like, nope, we're out.
Yeah, there's only so many times you can find that funny before you go, this is just weird.
Yeah. And those people who are into it, they're going to stick with that. I was like, I don't care. It's like, there's still, I'm sure chat roulette is still going, and there's still people who are like, every night, I'm on there, I got the trousers off, I'm ready to roll.
And if that's what you want to do, fair play. But there's other avenues for that kind of thing. There's other websites.
There's other ways you can harass people by sending them pictures.
Just create a FET life. Get your pictures on there. That's fine. Then people choose to interact with you.
But yeah, so speaking of scantily clad people,
I
I did note that the Dragon Sound, most of them, they come on the stage shirtless, like they're ready to roll with the tops already off.
Yeah,
which I always note in performances. You get it a lot, it happens all the time. Someone will take it, but it's always midway through. It's always when they're drenched in sweat. They'll come out in an outfit, and then it's like, oh boy. And then they go midway through.
Yeah.
They've had to, even if they just come out in like a t-shirt, they'll usually disappear midway through or whatever. But these guys are like, they don't mess around. They play to win. They like just come out with the shirts off already, except our hero, of course, Mark, YK Kim himself, who is like, no.
He doesn't need to show off. That's the thing.
He is a very modest man. So,
plus he's like Yoda. Yoda doesn't need to show off. He's powerful in a reserved way, unless you watch the prequels. He's chill. He's there, and he's going to do something good.
I'm just kind of curious as if it's like, as we'll note throughout the rest of the film, many, many times, all the Dragon Sound seem to like hanging out with their shirts off and a towel draped over the shoulder at the best of times.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure YK Kim never gets his top off at any point.
Off the top of my head, I don't believe he does. And I put that down to modesty, which, he's Korean. Korean people are known for that quite a lot. Even though it's like a giant capitalist hellscape.
Yeah.
They're still quite modest, like in traditional values. And, he just doesn't like having his top off. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not like in horrible shape, but I'm not in good shape. Maybe.
I just wonder if there's a thing of like, because he's a very small, slight guy, and so maybe it might have been like, this is your grand Taekwondo master. He doesn't look all that impressive, which maybe that's why he's doing Taekwondo on stage to be, look, I'm cool as well.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But like, I don't know if it's just genuinely he's just like, he is obviously a very physically impressive man in what he can do, but I don't know, maybe it doesn't show on his body, and he's like, I'm not showing this off, or maybe he's just like, I don't need to show this off. You need to buy me dinner first before this gig comes off.
Yeah, you gotta wine and dine that mother.
I did notice, though, it'll probably be out actually now by the time of airing this, but they had the trailer for the Weird Al movie just came out the other day.
What? That won me over immediately.
I think it was such an eye-opening experience of when they announced that they were making one. I was like, Weird Al doesn't have any beef with people. He didn't have like a traumatic life. He doesn't have any addictions or anything.
No, he's just like a nice sort of Christian man.
Yeah. And then so I was like, what's this movie going to be about? And then, of course, when it landed, and it's like, oh, it's a spoof of every biopic you've ever seen.
He's like banging Madonna and stuff.
Yeah, it's just like... And then even the fact, too, that like, he's so obviously miming to the original tracks and stuff. Like, even when he's in a living room or whatever, it's just like, it sounds like, this is what sounded exactly like in the recording in the studio.
Oh, so funny.
It's kind of like, of course that's what Weird Al's biopic is. Why wouldn't that have been my immediate assumption?
I know, I didn't assume it either. I did say, oh, he's going to do something crazy, but I didn't expect, like, it's literally just going to be made up.
Yeah,
he's like on drugs and everything.
It's, full on, it's might as well put in The Simpsons, like, slag off. But I noticed people were saying that there's one shot of him, Daniel Radcliffe, playing Weird Al with his shirt off, playing guitar on stage.
He's buff.
And he's buff. And people are going like, this movie isn't going to make me like hot for Weird Al Yankovic.
Wait, hang on. Aren't we all hot for Weird Al?
Well, the thing is now, it's like, you got to get this image of these, he's like a muscle-bound kind of guy. Whereas, like, I know, but we know people. We know someone in a friggin' Weird Al burlesque troupe tribute.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she's hot for Weird Al. But I think maybe that's the people of a certain taste. But now the normies have been threatened with the looming dread of like, I might end up like getting hard for Weird Al every time I see him now after watching Daniel Radcliffe ripping his shirt off and rocking out.
Once you've listened to 2 or 3 of his albums in a row, if you're not stiff, woo.
But yeah, that went from a biopic where I was just like, hey, I'll watch it to like, oh yeah, no, I'm 100% on board.
Exactly
for this,
the same. I was just like, this is perfect. This is everything I want.
I remember though one of the headlines again around it was like, watch Evan Rachel Wood's transform into Madonna, and it's like she's wearing a Madonna outfit. Like,
yeah,
I could look like Madonna if I put on those clothes because there's no. Like, it's not like friggin', someone, it's not like, Charlize Theron turning into Elise Wuros or anything. It's like, it's a pretty standard way to dress like Madonna.
I'll tell you what, though, listeners, if you send in the cash to buy the outfit, I will get Niall to wear it.
I will happily wear that Madonna outfit. Like, I always really liked that hairdo.
Oh, yeah, I think she looked incredible back then. Like, amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's peak Madonna at that point, man.
But then I'm a defender of her now. People always slag her off now, and it's like, I think she looks cool. I mean, why do you care so much? Leave her alone.
Well,
she can do what she wants.
But yeah, we should mention though, of course, like because now the movie is really gathering momentum in terms of like we had to go through that opening fight, and it's weird now. It's like we've been airing for over 2 months at this point, and it's only at 11 seconds into minute 10 we finally got a shot of YK Kim himself. I was like, oh, finally, Jesus, here we are.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. It's his intro.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
And basically to Dragon Sound and so many of our heroes in all their non-shirted glory.
And they're good pals. And in fact, the line in the song, "You've got a friend in me. When times get tough, you'll see."
So he cuts to a young Randy Newman out there going, I like that. I think I might use that someday.
No, it's his cousin. Randy, it's your cousin.
Marvin Newman.
That new sound.
That one specific lyric you're looking for? Well, listen. Oh, no, the song's over. Sorry.
We missed our chance. I thought it was quite a cute line, though. When times get tough, you'll see. It's like, oh, they're good. They are really nailing it down. They're hammering it home. We are buddies till the end.
Yeah. It's just so nice. It's like, I wish I was friends with these guys. They seem like they genuinely all have each other's back.
Yeah, it's really... I think more music, despite being a punk rocker, I think there needs to be another genre out there for nice music.
Yeah, nice core.
Yeah, pleasant.
I'm pretty sure there probably is a nice core. Yeah,
but it'll be shit. Like we need it with decent banging tunes like this.
Oh, I should mention too, like it might steer people away from decent banging tunes though, but not to dwell too much on the shirtlessness of everybody, but it just really reminded me of like I watched the Woodstock '99 documentary. That's on Netflix. It's great. Everyone should check it out. And it's just. But one of the big things is that towards the end, it's like, oh yeah, Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Everyone always says he performed in a sock. I was like, no, he's bollock naked.
With a sock over his junk.
Yeah, but in the footage, that sock isn't there. Like, it's like, oh, it must have come off at some point. But it's just so weird because, once everything's going down at the end, because, they literally set fire to the whole place. Like, the whole thing burned down. As they're backstage wondering if they should go back on for an encore, or they're kind of pressuring Anthony Kiedis, like, you got to go out and calm down this crowd. And he's like, what do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. There's all these backstage photos. It's great because, like, all the Woodstock guys in their polo shorts, and some of them in full-on suits and ties and stuff.
What?
And then just a bollock naked Flea just standing next to them. I was like, that was it. That was worth the 3-hour documentary alone.
I'll tell you what, I know the Chili Peppers might not be my favorite band or anything. In fact, I've insulted them a lot over the years. Sorry, Gaz, if you're listening, our friend. But I appreciate that about Flea. He's like, I'm just going to be naked.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
That's just the fact he went the extra, because the rest of them all got the shirts off. But Flea's like, you know what? I think it's time we take it to the next level.
And it inspired every HBO show to come.
I would say, too, like, I don't mind the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I quite enjoy all their songs. I know Nick Cave gave that one quote about how awful they were. And then everyone just seemed to get bored with that. And it's like, Nick Cave ain't infallible. Like, he's a better musician for sure, but, like, he ain't infallible himself. Like, why not both,
Yeah, I mean, I don't despise them, but I also don't like them. I'm like, okay. Like, they're on, I guess.
And yeah, that's all parallel universe. That's a banging song.
Well, they're no Dragon Sound.
There are no Dragon Sound. Like, if the Dragon Sound, if they performed at Woodstock '99, no problems whatsoever. Everyone would have been like, yep, that's it. They could, YK Kim could have come out and just said, like, only through the elimination of violence can we stop the fires at Woodstock '99, and people would have been like getting it, even though there was no. One of the major problems of it was that there was no water anywhere. Somehow people would have put out the fires. Oh. But yeah, so we got YK Kim, we got introduction to, now we get to the point of having to remember the character names. Because we have Joe Diamond Joe Quimby, Joe Diamond as Jack.
Yes.
So Joe is Jack. YK Kim is Mark. There's that guy who is John, and then his sister Jane.
Yes. In fact, if you want to remember the names, listeners, go to our TeePublic page where you can purchase a T-shirt with them all written on.
I don't know if it's a thing with, because it's exactly like The Room where everyone's there. Well, I guess Lisa is like that's got a slight bit more of an edge to it, but the rest of them is like Johnny, Mark. They're all very boring. Not that there's anything wrong with those names. It's just that they're very generic names.
It's not what I would call my characters in a film.
That's the thing. Yeah, this is like the anti-David Cronenberg thing. You ever watch a David Cronenberg movie and all his characters are called like Barry Convex and Stathis Borans, and you're like, nobody's called that. Like Veronica Quaife. Like,
none of these are names.
Yeah, but then they Tommy Wiseau and YK, they've gone too far in the direction. It's like, yeah, Mark, John, Jeff,
Dave,
yeah, Joe, Jack. It's like, the guy's name's already Joe. Like, just call him the guy. Do a Jack Nicholson and just call him Joe. But
yeah, why not?
But yeah, so I will apologize in future. I'll remember names like Jeff because he's iconic, but I'll probably refer to Mark as YK Kim.
Oh yeah, I mean I've seen this movie 100 billion times and I still don't remember the fucking character names. It doesn't matter. It's not important.
We do get a little shot though of like we get all of them individually, and we do see that I always find. I think we've talked about it in Batman too for whatever reason. That uncomfortable thing of having, because Jane's up there. Jane is a singer with Dragon Sound, but she doesn't sing on all the tracks. So she has to do that weird thing of being like the singer who's just on stage, kind of like grooving, while the rest of the band are playing without her. And it's a bit like, it's in like, the B-52s, the songs that Fred won't play in. It's actually some of their best songs, like Rome and, Give Me Back My Man.
Yeah.
Don't have the classic Fred sound of the B-52s. So, but every time he has to just like, okay, just sit in the corner.
I love
and
that,
wait
though.
It out.
Sometimes that's fine.
I mean, yeah, I just always think of it must be weird for like Like, I remember, wasn't there an Oasis song called, like, The Master Plan? That even in the video for it, the video featured an animated Liam Gallagher doing nothing because he didn't sing the song. And then they showed you them in animated form on stage performing it, and Liam sitting in the corner with a bangle. And I was like, just don't have him in the video. Like, it just seems so odd. The rest of the video, he's like the leader of the band, but he's like, you're not singing the song. Like, just don't have him in the video.
He's got to be in the video. He's part of the band. You're all one. I think when someone does a song like that, though, you should find something for them to do, even if it's like a tambourine.
Yeah.
You know, like this band I love, Wonk Unit. One of the songs is sung by the keyboard player, so the singer just takes over the keys for a little bit. And he's like, yeah, he's not as good on the keyboard, but he's good. So, you know, she's obviously gone, here's what you do. And it's like, okay, cool. Because otherwise he'd just be stood there. It'd be weird.
Well, I guess that's Jane's thing. She's trying to groove along. They're not even giving her the tambourine. It's kind of like, it almost looks like she's like some lady they pulled out of the audience. Like, it's kind of got a Courtney Cox and Dancing in the Dark kind of vibe to it. Yeah. It's only later in the movie you're like, oh, she's singing. Oh, she's part of the band. Like, I thought she was just a groupie or something for a second.
No, that's the thing. You need a tambourine. You need it. Our backing singer, for instance, she doesn't back and sing on every song. She's got a tambourine, baby.
Yeah. It's a triangle. Give them a triangle.
Triangle, anything, something like that. Or do like extra percussion of some sort. Like, what are those boxes called that you bang like a drum? You know, you sit on it.
Box drum.
Is that literally what it's called?
No.
Well, you know, those things. Like, play that, or, you know, just bang it. Slipknot had 3 drummers, for God's sake.
To be fair to Dragon Sound as well, they're blatantly not playing these instruments live on stage.
What?
Give her a guitar. Just like, just pretend you're strumming it. The guy up in the friggin' pedestal who's like, he can barely pretend that he's strumming this guitar half the time.
I've got... Maybe this will be controversial to the fans. I don't know, and I hate to be mean. But our dear friend here, Hall/Oates, he is singing. His lip syncing. Right, I thought there was something wrong with my video file. It just turns out he's a terrible lip syncer.
Yeah.
You know, we can let him off because he wrote this banger. But he cannot lip sync to save his life.
I'm assuming it's not genuinely like, well, maybe some of them can't play the instruments. But I'm getting the vibes like he at least performed this song. Yeah. And the recording quality wasn't great, so like we'll have to dub in a studio version over the top of this. But it's so weird that like he gets when it has that little breakdown of a gling, gling. He mimes that perfectly. And then a split second later, it cuts back to him, and he's playing that guitar like he's never held a guitar in his hand before, ever. Like he's strumming something that has nothing to do with the tune. And it's like, not all guitar players have to be playing the guitar the entire time. You can just be singing for a second, man.
Well, it's probably a directing thing. He's like, okay, fine. You want me to just hit some stuff? Okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
So, and you know, again, we can let him off because we know he's a musician. We've seen the making of. You know.
See, he's much like we're saying, like, oh, YK Kim. He doesn't have to show off his muscles because we know that they're there. And he's just like, I am Dragon Sound. Like, I don't have to mime things perfectly because without me, there are no friends.
Oh.
There is no escape from Miami. It's all me, baby.
Some friends are more equal than others.
And the thing is, too, he's up in a little... I thought it was a bit awkwardly done on the stage. It's like everyone's on equal footing, but he's on this little pedestal.
Like a literal pedestal, yeah.
Yeah, this is like, well, that feels like it's just a bad stage design for one thing as well. But
I tell you what, though, I think they should all be elevated. That's my number one problem with gigs, right? I know people are on a stage at a lot of them, but half the time I still can't fucking see them because even though I'm 6'1", some tall bastard stands in front of me.
Yeah,
elevate them even more, double it.
Well, that's the other thing too. Even with like friggin' like big, stadium gigs or whatever, I always end up watching the band on the screen next to it because you get to see them at least. Yeah. But then I'm always having to force myself. Oh no, look at the actual stage because you paid to see the people in person.
Yeah.
And if you're just looking at the screen, you might as well just watch it at home. You know.
Exactly. So. That's why I don't go to like Glastonbury. I mean, one day I probably will, but I know for a fact I'd spend half of it looking at the screen because I'd be half a mile back.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, particularly after watching that Woodstock '99 documentary, like my music festival days are over.
You just got to pick good ones now. Good ones.
Yeah. But it was Woodstock '99, John. They were going to recreate the 1969 hippie vibes through Korn and Metallica.
Nothing says hippie more than Korn, Metallica, and Limp Bizkit.
One of the best moments of the whole thing is Fred Durst visibly instigating violence and then coming off the stage and then like, so Fred, how was that? And him going like, oh wow, that wasn't my fault.
He knows instantly, like, oh shit.
No one comes out and says that immediately first without knowing that it is definitely their fault.
Well, I think through euphoria, Dragon Sound could elicit the same reaction. They're not trying to make people violent, but people are so enraptured by this beautiful sound that they just get swept away. They can't help themselves.
Yeah,
they start like kicking the air. They're kicking each other's faces.
Well, the thing is that they do make Taekwondo look cool. So there is always that sort of like, you know, the scare that happened over in the UK in the early 90s about the Ninja Turtles. It's promoting violence. We can't have Leonardo uses swords in the movies now. It could be like Taekwondo or the Dragon Sound. Like, oh man, people are beating the crap out of each other in the crowd now because they're watching us.
Well, I mean, maybe this is part of it. I think I've brought up on the show before. I don't know if it was just an English thing, but here in the 90s, probably the mid-90s, maybe as a reaction to that Turtles sort of thing, every fucker but me did Taekwondo. Everyone. So Kim got his wish. I knew about 5 kids at school who did Taekwondo. It's crazy.
I think we had a big karate thing. I always thought it was still left over from the Karate Kid.
Maybe.
But I remember, specifically in primary school. But I think even that must have been worldwide, because I remember in The Simpsons, remember this whole thing about Bart doing karate as well.
Yeah,
and I felt that was a really early episode. Like, it felt like that's the zeitgeist of the 90s, was children learning martial arts.
It seemed very, very popular. I'm actually really surprised I didn't do it, because my dad did martial arts. And, you know, I liked fighting.
You hadn't seen Miami Connection at that point, John, and you definitely would have gone to do Taekwondo had you known that someone as cool as YK Kim was doing it.
I mean, I won't argue with that. I probably would have, yeah.
Yeah, well.
And after we get this Times a Tough line we talked about before, our villains arrive. And they look very displeased with the antics. You know, Jeff is staring at the lady on the stage. What could that be about? Ooh, we're going to discover.
Oh, man. I've got to pause at 51 seconds, and the look on his face is just it's magnificent.
It's actually good acting, I think. Good facial acting. Like you instantly know that he's not happy with something.
I mean, this is a guy, like, I really hope that people always know what I'm referring to, because I've joked about it so much already. But you know, we know that Jeff is a man who hates the concept of a friend.
Yeah.
So him walking into a club and hearing a song about friends.
Friends!
He's probably like, what the hell is this? And then looking up on stage and saying, it's my sister, man. What the? Oh, my God.
That's probably what it is. Like, my sister? Friends? No, it's everything I fucking don't want to mix.
That's immediate assumption, too. Like, oh, she's standing next to a man. To be fair, he makes the right assumption.
Yeah.
But it's just like, she's next to a guy. They clearly got to be hooking up. Like, that's the only thing that be going on.
Yeah, that's really strange. It's just a coincidence that he's right. He's got no evidence or anything. I get the vibe though. Maybe he's one of those guys who's like, you know, he says to his sister, you know, you don't talk to men. They only want one thing. You know, that kind of like, I'm going to protect you. And it's like, leave her alone. She's a grown woman, for fuck's sake.
He's got that thing. They only want one thing. It's the same thing that I always want from every.
That's what makes me laugh.
I come across.
Yeah, when people say that, that's what always makes me laugh. It's like, so you're saying that about yourself?
Yeah, but it's always like, it's like a father's admittance of like, oh, when I was a teenager, I was a horny little shit. So if you're like, I know that these boys you're out with will be exactly the same that I was like.
Yeah, that's really putting your own problems on other people. You know, deal with that
I've been
yourself.
saying it a long time. Most of the time, they're right as well. So you know, Jeff is like, he's, you know, his assumption is correct. It just happens to be that he doesn't seem to recognize that this is the most wholesome group of men in existence.
Yeah, if there's someone you want your sister hooking up with, it's I've forgotten his fucking name already.
Well, that's the thing, because he's now going to be like, oh, you know, at least Jack, Joe Diamond.
Yeah.
He's got a distinctiveness about him. You know YK Kim because YK Kim. And then there's like, oh, there's White Guy who also has a J name. I think he's John.
Yes.
Oh, at least we should remember because your name is John, so we know that there is a John in the movie. And then I believe also the guy on the keyboards is Jim, which is like, guys, just call one of them like friggin', I don't know, Aaron or something distinct. Give them a nickname, something to give them, a bit of like something that we can cling on to, except the mullet and the mustache. And the fact that one of them's YK Kim.
Well, I think the boyfriend here should just be called Mayo. He's as white as Mayo.
Yeah. Egg.
Egg. Yes.
And Jeff's just looking and going, him?
Yes. That's what we need, baby. We get another line that I really like. I think all of this is beautiful. It goes, "We've been together for so long. When I'm weak, you make me strong."
I really wonder within the continuity who instigated this song amongst Dragon Sound.
Yeah,
was it who came up was like, I love you guys so much that I've written it, or are they all sitting around together like, let's just write a song about how great we are as friends?
I guess because if one of them approached like, I've got these new lyrics, you'd sit and read them and be like, that's a bit weird.
I think amongst normal people, yeah, but amongst these guys, I think they'd be like, oh, they'd be sitting with their towels draped over the shoulder and their unbuttoned, insanely tight jeans.
Yeah.
Just been like, oh yeah, this is great, man. Yeah, we should definitely we should add in this line about like when I'm weak, you make me strong.
I'll say one thing though, I'm not sure just being together for a long time is saying much about a relationship, really. That's not really saying we're close.
You want more specific lyrics like, when I was hooked on smack, you helped me go cold turkey.
I am genuinely, if Kim wasn't quite as wholesome as he is, I could see that being a plot point where one of them gets addicted to drugs and he has to help them. He's like, you don't need this stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine if this had spawned a franchise, one installment would be about like maybe a new Orpan joins the group.
Yeah.
And then, it turns out he's hooked on. It would be like the Jesse Spano thing, though. They couldn't use like heroin.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You'd have to be hooked on something else. Although I guess they do have a lot of cocaine. They, friggin' Yoshido moves a lot of cocaine in Orlando.
Maybe one of them gets on the coke.
Yeah.
And Kim smacks it out of his hand. He's like, you don't need this trash. It's like, oh.
And I can imagine that would definitely be a plot point in a future installment. We should start writing our own sequels to Miami Connection as it goes on.
And we'll pitch it to Kim on Twitter. That
could be our follow-up project. And it's like, we now do a table read of the... And then we can see if we can get YK Kim himself to join. Because I feel like the big downside would be like you'd feel the need to do his voice. And you couldn't do that.
I think we'd have to get a Korean person.
At least that. But you couldn't read him like as like a Caucasian character either, because it's one of his defining characteristics is the way that he talks as well. So, we see Jeff frozen, aghast at the concept of this song about friendship, and then his good friend Yoshido pops up again behind him there.
Hey,
it's like, Jeff, he seems so at ease here, and he seems like he's kind of got like a. He pats Jeff on the shoulder, and Jeff's almost got it kind of like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, he's so... It's almost like a moment of, Jeff, like, what's the matter? You've not touched your "we'll only ever be acquaintances" cake. I
love all the...
friendship, man. I hate it so much.
All of his reactions are just beautiful. I would like it if one of the gang started bopping along and Yoshito just gives them a look, like, what are you doing?
That's it. I'd be surprised if Yoshito himself started bopping along and Jeff gave him the look. Like,
yeah, Trouble in Paradise.
Or like, one of the gang starts bopping along. Yoshida sees that Jeff's upset, and he's like, don't stop. Jeff doesn't like it, man. One thing I did note, we got a brief shot of Jim, who will have like one of the best scenes in the movie later on when his dad sends him that letter.
Yes.
And you see his keyboard, which apparently is a Prophet 600. And I went out in search, hoping that maybe there would be like, they'd have a big list of songs that people use the Prophet 600 on or something. No such luck. But I did discover that it was manufactured between 1982 and 1985. a very short lifespan for a keyboard, I guess. That actually stands for Sequential Circuits Prophet 600. And it's one of those things of like, you look up the website and they're like, oh yeah, the Prophet 600 was great. You do all these little effects with it and press this, that, and the other. And it still remains a great synth, very affordable prices. And I looked up on eBay, and to buy this keyboard now would cost you £2,406.32, with an additional £316 for shipping.
Ooh, okay.
So I have no idea how that's affordable to anyone unless you're Bruce Wayne.
Well, I don't know. I mean, is that a lot for a specialist instrument? I don't know. I don't play, despite being in a band, I don't play anything, so I don't know. I'm sure some of our friends have got guitars that are around that, you know.
Oh, no. I know my brother, he's been in brass bands. He's a musician his entire life, and he plays keyboards. And he forked out for a very swanky keyboard for himself. And he was like, yeah, £700
okay.
was and he says, like, you can add on little things to it and stuff to make it better, but like £700 to like maybe $1,000 would be like, that's you're getting, and that's modern day keyboards. So I'm guessing this thing that now, because it was like a 3-year deal of like, yeah, they only manufactured it for a short time. It's got a kind of novelty factor. Plus, now hipstery, in a hipstery kind of way, people are into old keyboards and stuff. So I think that's what's bumped up the price right a bit. But like £2,400 for a keyboard is like insanely, particularly when this is supposed to be like the cheap option.
I thought it'd be okay. I mean, my computer was $2,000. So
yeah, but look at how much you can do with that computer, though. This is just a keyboard.
Oh, now a keyboard can do lots. You can transport people to other worlds.
And yeah, I think like guitars, you probably get like £800 or something like that. Would be like the top tier kind of. I'm sure like people would pay thousands for like Prince's guitar or something along those lines. But yeah, I think the fact that they're like, oh yeah, it's very affordable. It's like. I used to want to play keyboards when I was a kid. I was like, thank God I didn't, because I don't think I could afford to keep one nowadays. But
there's a big. I was looking specifically because you were talking about guitars there. It made me think like, I remember when we were watching Glastonbury, we saw St. Vincent, and she's invented her own guitar. So I thought I'd look here at the costs. I mean, you can get one for £680, but there is one version of it for £3,222.
Whew. Holy moly, that's her one that she designed.
Yeah, the Music Man St. Vincent, and this is the Goldie Velveteen one. I assume the difference is probably the wood. Actually, it's not. Is it made of wood or is it made of metal? No, it's made of wood. I don't actually know what the difference is. Let's see. This is all too technical for me. It looks fancy.
But knowing the way St. Vincent works too, I would not be surprised if like, this, like, not to get too crude, but she'd be like, yes, the strings have been washed in my own vaginal juices or something like that. That's the kind of thing that St. Vincent would pull, where you're like, that's a bit weird, but on brand.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for it. Do what you want. She's cool. What have I got? Yeah. Oh, with the song in particular, I checked out the commentary because I always do, and so far there's not been too much that we haven't brought up already. But I did like this that came up. Joseph, is it Diamond or Diamond? Because it's with lots of A's.
See, I like saying Diamond because it reminds me of Diamond Joe Quimby, but it might be Diamond or something like that.
Well, we'll say Diamond. But he says the incredible words. He's talking about this song and the meaning behind it, and he says, "The family that kicks together sticks together." I'm like, yes! That's going on a T-shirt, baby.
No lies detected, quite frankly. Yeah.
I mean, it depends. Kicking together, yes. Kicking each other, maybe not. Then again, part of sparring is kicking each other. So.
But I would like to believe that these guys all still do check in on each other and stuff, but like...
Oh, apparently they do.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah,
apparently a couple of them do see each other quite regularly, yeah.
Well, once you've hung around with someone just wearing a towel and skinny jeans for that long, that's a bond you share for life.
Yeah, you can't ditch them then. Come on, close. And they brought up as well, Kim was saying how the audience here almost every single one of them are Kim's students.
Well, that's why they're Jack and Sound fans.
Yeah, because he had, you know how many schools he had going and stuff. And he said it was 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Whew.
The school. So he said he had 10,000 students to call on as extra. And I mean, if your master says you want to be in my movie, you'd be like, yeah.
I hope he was doing it in a friendly way. It's not like, if you're going to fail unless you show up to this game.
Oh, no. I can't have anything bad come out about him.
Yeah. 2-drink minimum when you get there. And you have to buy tickets.
You get the pleasure of seeing your master play.
The thing would be weird as well, though, because unless they're blasting this song, which I don't know.
No, he actually did. He brought it up in the thing. He said they did.
Oh, thank God.
I know sometimes they don't on shoots.
Yeah, it'd be weird if they're standing around there just all miming and everyone's like and watching YK Kim jumping around on the stage and stuff.
Yeah, that would be very strange. You'd be thinking, what the fuck is he doing? He's lost his mind.
That's still like an editing project that I must get around to doing that sometime, because then we find out during on our other show, Bat Minutes, during the production of '89 when the Joker's out throwing that money, and of course classically playing Trust by Prince. On set, that's not what they were playing. They were playing another Prince song.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't even the one. I think they might have been playing like 1999 or something when that came on. But like, I think that wasn't even the song that Prince wrote for the scene.
Nope.
He wrote like a song called like 2,000 Balloons. And then whatever happened afterwards, like, nah, it's not working. This Trust one, though, that seems good. We'll work that in.
It does kind of work thematically.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, Joker literally does the, who do you trust? Hubba, 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 hubba,
Yeah.
money.
And so, the people are trusting him. He's like giving them money. And
Yeah. But yes, I always would want to see that scene re-edited to like what people would have heard on set. Because people, I guess extras who were there, like, yeah, I remember that day. That wasn't that song that was playing, I'll tell you that.
So now I want fans to redub the audio here, so Dragon Sound are playing all kinds of different songs. Like they're playing like Enter Sandman and things like that,
Or re-edit that scene in Batman so they're coming out to friends.
Oh,
just, like, throwing
yeah.
money.
Oh, I like the way you went a wholesome route, and then I was about to say, yeah, I want someone to put the playing Slipknot's People Equal Shit.
That's the other thing. I was like, why not have both? We could have the wholesome visual of Dragon Sound with that contrast, and then also have the Joker throw in a load of money that's only going to lure people in so he can kill them to the sounds of the Dragon Sound. So.
It could be like money. That's what I want.
I also did want like like in the previous minutes we did, where like that montage of like them driving the motorbikes and stuff, escaping from Miami. There was part of me that really wished they would have intercut some footage of like Tracy Walter doing that weird dance in the cake in '89 as well. Quite frankly.
Oh, that would have been bliss.
Let's go. That whole movie. That's my favorite shot. Is Bob the Goon with his hands kind of awkwardly not knowing what to do, kind of doing a dad dance in the back of the cake and stuff. I'm looking for. I mean, there's more song coming next minute, so we got more Jeff.
There is one last thing.
Oh, of course.
Consult the drinking game. Right. Oh God. Okay. Shirtless dudes. That are we taking one drink for each shirtless dude? Because that's at least 4.
That was what my question was going to be. Like, if it's per dude, like, that would kill you. Like, I guess to them hanging out in the house. Like, again, YK Kim's the only guy who's like, maybe he was like, I can't take the shirt off because someone will eventually make a drinking game of this.
And it'll kill people.
Yeah, so I think I'm the one who has to refrain.
Well, for the sake of recording, I'm going to do 1, but listeners, feel free to do 4. Mm-hmm. Dragon Sound are playing. Take another swig. Fist pump. Have another. And the crowd are also fist pumping a little bit once or twice, so I don't know, finish the bottle. Whatever you want to do. Depends what you're drinking. Down
That's
the whiskey.
why Jeff's so protective of his sister. It's just like, I had another sister, but she died playing the Miami Connection drinking game by minute 10.
That's why he hates Dragon Sound, because it's a Dragon Sound drinking game, and when the crowd go to see them, that's what they do. they drink along with these actions, and his other sister did die at the gig.
Yeah, it's weird because everyone has to do it in shots as well. So they come in, like the bars, so they haven't served anything off like draft or anything. They're just like, oh, it's all people are just asking for like 10,000 shots.
Oh my god, imagine that. The cost.
We don't even have enough glasses. We're having to pound out like bottle caps and everything at this point.
I've noticed a lot of pubs lately. If you get a shot, they're giving you a plastic shot glass.
Ugh.
I'm not happy with that.
Yeah, no, I understand why it occurs now. Although with plastics, no one's going outside to take a shot.
No, and it's waste as well.
Yeah, I can understand it with like a plastic glass that you might be taking outside.
Yeah,
because then again, there's no risk of anything there. But like a shot glass, what? Come on, man, what are we doing here?
No, I'm not a fan of plastic.
It might be like a single use. We can't be bothered cleaning them or whatever. But
which I understand, because it's like, well, they'll go through loads. But surely you're just creating a lot of waste and pollution there. Unless it's recycled plastic, but that's not that common. They're more expensive if you buy them. It's I don't know.
That's my one of my, well, actually not my only note, but one of my many notes for Ted Lasso, which is, you know, the American show set in England. And the amount of times to see him going outside with a pint glass, which is an actual glass. And it's like, they wouldn't let you out of the pub with that. Like, that's, they would stop it. Like, you would have to put it in. Even if it's the middle of the day, they would make you put that in
Usually. I have been to a couple where they don't mind, but that is few and far between.
Yeah. I think you go outside if it's like a little garden in the back of the pub. Like, it's, you know, it's an outdoor area outside. But this is like he's going out into the street.
The pub in town, the Grapes, don't mind. Because I did it the other day, and they didn't stop me.
Great. Is that jam-packed all the time? They probably just didn't notice.
No, I think they did, because eventually they did take the drink off me, but not because I had a glass, because they were closing. Like,
the way you said they took the drink, you had literally had it going up to your lips, and they're like, all right, time's up, buddy.
No, he said,
get the hell out.
He said, look, we're going to have to close. Can I take that? Because, you know, we've got to clean everything up. I was like, yeah, it's all right. There you go. There's only a little bit left.
Yeah.
But yes, that's that. We're all drunk. Yay, have a good time.
Yeah.
Go and party now. Go party with your Miami Connection soundtrack played on loop on vinyl. You can buy it on vinyl. It's kind of hard to find now, but you can get it, people.
I guarantee anyone, if people have watched this minute along with this episode, I would guarantee that you'll have the song stuck in your head the rest of the day.
And you know what? It's going to be playing us out anyway. So you're going to get stuck in your head again, baby. So do come and speak to us. Facebook at the Miami Minutes Taekwondo Orphanage. Twitter, Miami Minutes. Instagram, Miami Minutes. And why not, as I mentioned earlier, look up our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on TeePublic. You can get a wonderful t-shirt with all the characters' names on. I should buy one to remember them. You can get it on a mug. I think
you need to have like pictures next to it and stuff.
Yeah, true. Should we do that, people? Should we use pictures? I mean, let us know. We can try. We might get in trouble with the law, but we can give it a shot.
We might have to like have a little brief description next to it, like Mark brackets YK Kim, Joe brackets mustache and mullet, John brackets white guy,
generic white man.
Yeah, just bland like mayo egg man,
mayo egg.
Yeah, Jane the girl.
I mean, that is a character. She's the girl. She's got nice hair. That's, you know.
I did know too when looking, but I had to double check everybody's names. I enjoy on the IMDb under Jane. There's a picture of her from this very scene, actually, and then under Jeff, and they use too big a picture, so it's like they've not cropped it properly. So it's also a picture of her. On top of
she plays both, don't you remember?
That's why the beard looks fake. Oh,
we've uncovered the truth live here on the podcast.
That's why the little feather thing is like he tugs that and it lets the back of her hair come down. He rips off the wig. It becomes Jane all of a sudden.
We know what's going on. We're going to keep our eyes open for that one. But for now, we're going to break the connection, only to reforge it in a week's time. So do join us again then. Taekwondo family, Hiya!
Listen to me!